Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welcome to Caneswear.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
We are live. Money in the Bank is over right now. The press conferences are going, but it looks like John Cena might talk all night, so I'm going to jump on now before it gets too late. There was some interesting things that happened before the press conference kicked off, and also John Cena kind of clarified his retiring from in-ring action at the end of 2025. So when he said WrestleMania will be his last, that will be his last one, but he's right now tentatively looking to do 30 to 40 dates in 2025 from January through December. So it'll be the whole year of 2025 will be the farewell tour of hustle, loyalty, and respect, which is John Cena, which Trish Stratus introduced him. That is some of the things that happened that we're going to discuss. Jeff's already in. Josh is in. Dad is in. I appreciate everybody that's watching us on X. If you got us on Twitch, don't forget, please jump over. I am 207 people away from 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you please can find it in your heart, 207. Let your friends know. Jump on over, hit subscribe, Stanley Media House Network, and help me out. Trying to get to 1,000. I want to get more than that, but hey, steps, baby. Baby steps. So tonight it was the Money in the Bank. 2 briefcase one. A lot of talk about it got wasted. Drew McIntyre does win the men's Money in the Bank, which started the night. And let me tell you something, man. I love the innovation of the ladder matches, but I cringe, man. I cringe because all it takes is one of them. Andrade, for instance, he does the leg drop and he comes down and his back of his shoulder hits the one side of the ladder, and you look at his whole shoulder blade is all messed up. I mean, you don't leave unscathed in a ladder match, no matter what. Something always, one way or another, something happens. But Drew McIntyre ends up climbing up step 1, checked off for Drew McIntyre. Jey Uso had a chance. I thought the interesting thing was, and again, this is what I said I love about, the storytelling, or when you tell stories, the minds can run wild, right? Because, for instance, on the Squared Circle Digest, Tuesday, 7 p.m., shameless plug, right here, Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel, or Frankie Fresco YouTube channel, we were discussing, would the Wyatt Six get involved and take out Chad Gable, or would it be Jey Uso that they go after? Would the Bloodline take out Jey Uso? Would CM Punk come in and cost Drew McIntyre during that match? Could you see possibly Trick Williams getting involved since they're there for NXT Heat Wave? Would he get involved with Carmelo Anthony? Goodness gracious, I did it again. Carmelo Hayes. Man, ever since they said Carmelo Anthony on that one SmackDown at MSG, I cannot stop it now. But again, we had all these, options running through our head because of the stories that all of the characters in that match were going through, right? Chad Gable with the Wyatt Six, Jey Uso sort of in the Wyatt Six there. Does he fall into the Bloodline? And what happened? Nothing. It was just Drew McIntyre winning the match. And it was just like, okay, all right, plain and simple. Drew wins it. He says he's going to win it. Step one checked off. And then they go to the Intercontinental title match. And again, I picked Braun Breaker winning this. Frankie Fresco picked the underdog. Sami Zayn, I should have went with the underdog, but I didn't. I said, hey, maybe they're buying into this Braun Breaker thing, and they'll give him the title here. And Sami Zayn will move on to some other stuff. Nope. Sami Zayn, the underdog, pulls off the win. I thought it was a good match. I didn't think it was. I mean, there were some spots that they did. And it was just kind of okay. But again, it was after the car crash that was the men's Money in the Bank match. So it's like, all right, other than, but Braun Breaker did hit the Frankensteiner. He hit that and things like that. Josh is in. He said, thank you, Cena. Yes. He also said, what up, Sean? WWE make it so obvious with everybody knew that Drew was. Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Everybody knew it was going to happen, and you still get the pop when it happens. It's wrestling. I mean, you're not going to do a whole lot of, especially in this day and age of social media. I mean, it was already out that, CM Punk was backstage. Like, there's those days of everything happening and nobody understanding. And we'll dive more into the CM Punk thing. But then Trish Stratus does introduce John Cena, who was photographed being in Toronto. He makes his return to WWE, states that 2025 would be his last year of in-ring competition. Cap for Life is in now. Yeah. We'll discuss that with Adam Pearce too at the end. So we'll see where John Cena goes, and Cena's still at the podium. I mean, usually the WWE press conferences are done by now. Like, I was going to wait till the end, and Cena just kept going and going and going. And I was like, all right, let me jump on now because I will probably be done before John Cena is done. It looks like he's still taking questions. So then it went on to the Seth and Damian Priest match. They show the stuff in the back with the Judgment Day. He kind of gets in everybody's face as he wants to do it on his own. Kind of stares down Finn a little bit. Finn says, whatever you say, boss. And nobody interferes from Judgment Day. So Damian and Seth, I thought, were having a phenomenal match. Then Drew's music hits, which I think it hit late because, again, if you watched it and the ref is 1, 2, and I believe maybe the music was supposed to cue in at the 2 count because Damian Priest wasn't really kicking out and Seth really wasn't hooked, and the ref is like 1, 2, and he should have hit the 3, but it's 2, and then all of a sudden, then the music hits. There's some timing off there. But then Drew McIntyre comes in, makes it a triple threat match. He gets in a few moves, and then, of course, CM Punk is there to take away Drew McIntyre. CM Punk screws Drew again. But also on the flip side, CM Punk has screwed Seth Rollins, which is now going to be a whole nother story that they can relay off of this. Because remember, when CM Punk first debuted, Seth's tirade outside the cage while CM Punk was sitting at the top of the ramp or standing at the top of the ramp. Now you saw it again, and CM Punk costs Seth Rollins, who is now unable to challenge for the world title as long as Damian Priest is the champion. You saw Seth get upset. He starts walking toward Corey Graves, jumps in the middle, kind of gets Seth away. But now, where does that put CM Punk and Seth Rollins in this whole thing? Yes, you cost Drew, but you also cost Seth Rollins. So now you've got another angle on this whole situation. Let me see what we got. Cap for Life says 8 out of 10 tonight. I would say that. You called it on the women's match. Yeah, we'll grab into that in a minute. Triple H said there would be surprises coming. SummerSlam War Games will be huge. Bro, Monday night is set. Not only that, but they're bringing back Bad Blood. And I was talking, my daughter comes over with my grandson, and we were watching, of course, Money in the Bank. And we were talking about the Bad Blood because now, again, you know what? Let me hold off. Let me get to the Bad Blood after the ending because I want to talk a little bit because I did have some issues with some of the ways that this went down. So Drew McIntyre cashes in the Money in the Bank. And, of course, CM Punk costs him. So now, basically, you've wasted the men's Money in the Bank briefcase. I understand that you want to make this angle, and it makes it all that more, heavier that you've cost Drew McIntyre for the third time a world title. For a third time. I don't know how much more this match now has got. I get when they said CM Punk's like, I want to beat him in a wrestling match. We're past a wrestling match for these two. You have cost Drew a world title 3 times. Drew left you laying in your own blood. How do you have a wrestling match after what has happened here? And then now sprinkle in a little bit of the Seth Rollins. And then I don't know if Damian was upset about the timing thing there or that also CM Punk interfered in a match when he said he wanted no interference from the outside. So does Damian Priest have an issue now with CM Punk being on there? I just don't know where, because Damian Priest looked upset. I don't know if it was because of the timing. Like he was mad because it made him kind of look bad because he wasn't kicking out. I think he was expecting the music, or there was supposed to be music. It never hit. He got a 1-2 and the ref, did the mysterious stop. So I don't know if that's where his upsetness was coming from or if it's also geared towards CM Punk. CM Punk could have just made 3 enemies in one night. And then also you've got the Drew McIntyre CM Punk thing, which now you cannot be a one fall match, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. There's got to be more on the line. We'll see where they go. Monday Night Raw is right around the corner. 48 hours. We got NXT Heatwave tomorrow. The women's Money in the Bank, probably one of the best Money in the Bank matches I've seen in a long time. They all put their bodies on the line. I'm hoping Zoe Stark's okay. I'm hoping Io Sky's okay. Chelsea Green takes a bump from the top of the ladder through tables. And, of course, we all know Tiffy time, baby. Tiffany Stratton has the Money in the Bank briefcase. she had the crowd in Toronto chanting Tiffy time. And I have to tell you, man, I can't wait to see where this goes. I really can't. It might only go, honestly, to SummerSlam. Because I could see Nia Jax losing to Bayley by like a roll-up or something, then laying Bayley out. And here comes Tiffany Stratton in, hands the briefcase, hits the prettiest moonsault ever. And Tiffy time, the Tiffy time era, will be underway. And another, there was a, I don't know what their tweet or whatever you want to call it now, an X that went out that was pretty interesting. It said that was one of the best women's Money in the Bank matches, and there was no Becky, Bayley, Charlotte. Of course, Sasha's not there anymore, or any of the, like you had, that's how, to me, stacked this women's division is right now in WWE. They put on that performance, and you had Io Sky, Tiffany Stratton. You know, it was one of those things, and Tiffany Stratton just finished up at the podium. Apparently, John Cena finally finished. And then you had the Cody, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens against Solo Sikoa, the head of the table. Jacob Fatu making his in-ring debut, and Tama Tonga. Look, it was a good match. I mean, they beat the crap out of each other. You got to see a little bit of what Jacob Fatu can do. And let me tell you something, Jacob Fatu has star written all over him. I said that before when he was in the Indies. And now he's cut up. And, I mean, look what WWE, the entrance they gave him, that one SmackDown, the acknowledgement ceremony when they took out Paul Heyman. When's the last time somebody got pyro and all that when they were just coming out for just a regular promo? It doesn't happen that often. But they did they got it right by having Solo pin Cody. Again, after watching the video last night when Solo sends it in, he says, I'm going to do what Roman Reigns was not man enough to do, and I'm going to bring back the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion to the family. And he said he's going to be the head of the table, and if Roman doesn't like it, he can come and do something about it. My only issues, and again, it's my issues because it's what I was hoping would happen. That's all, you know. I was hoping there would be more advancement of a storyline, somebody interfering, somebody coming along, especially since they were the main event. They are putting the emphasis on the card ending with Solo pinning the undisputed heavyweight champion, Cody Rhodes. I would like your thoughts. Do you think that was right? Or do you think it should have ended with Seth and Damian with the Drew McIntyre being screwed? Because to me, that would have left a more talkable ending for me, with Drew getting screwed again. Oh, moreover, Solo beating Cody in a 6-man tag. You know, and again, this is where I say I love the storytelling aspect. And I'll say what WWE uses, because again, you can spin it off of the different things of what you would like to see happen. None of it happened tonight for me, at least. Everything, I think if you go back and you listen to that Squared Circle Digest, we got the winners right. I missed the Braun Breaker one. I think we picked almost every winner correctly. But we also added what we would like to see happen maybe afterwards. Like, you know, like we were talking about with Jimmy Uso return and do something. Like, why didn't they continue the beat down on Cody? Where is this leading? I get it. The new self-proclaimed head of the table, Solo Sikoa, has pinned the undisputed champion who took that away from the tribal chief Roman Reigns and the family. Was that a good enough ending for you? And Cap for Life, I know you said it was an 8 out of 10. And I don't think you're off. I just think the ending with Drew would have been more talked about. And if Drew went berserk and destroyed like what he did, if anybody had watched the end on Peacock, Drew gets upset and comes out to where Stu and Big E, and they're doing the end of the night, the post show, and he starts going crazy. Adam Pearce comes out, he elbows Adam Pearce, throws him up. Stu Ben's got to get him out of the area to get him cooled off. Adam Pearce is going back and forth with him. I feel like if that was happening at the end, like you kind of have that Bret Hart situation when he got screwed and he was going to WCW. You've got Drew out there just destroying stuff ringside. I feel like that sends more of the impact than Solo getting the victory over Cody. But again, I'm looking at it from my entertainment. For storyline advancement, if you look at it, maybe the Solo storyline driven further down the line ends up meaning more than what CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre for the third time means. And again, that is what, to me, I like about the whole thing about pro wrestling is you can watch wrestling with 6 people and everybody could pick a different thing. Or you might have all the same taste. Or you could have 6 different ideas of what should happen. Let me go to the chat line. And again, if you want to get in on the chat, I believe on X, you can also send it in. I'll see it here on the StreamYard. But Cap for Life says, Triple H said there would be surprises coming. SummerSlam War Games will be huge, bro. Monday night is set. I think I've read that one already. And then, that reminds me, actually. Thank you for rereading that, actually. The Bad Blood pay-per-view. So what happens now, and I think there might be July. So no, August would be SummerSlam. I think ultimately we know it's going to be Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam. What if Roman returns at the end of that pay-per-view? October 5th, I think, is the pay-per-view or the PLE in Atlanta, which is called Bad Blood. At Bad Blood, I think, might be the War Games match, which is the Civil War. To me, it makes sense if you do it that way because you bring Roman back in. You've got 2 months because I believe the pay-per-view for SummerSlam. Hold on 1 minute. Let me double check and make sure. But I believe that is at the beginning of August. SummerSlam 2024 will take place Saturday, August 3rd. So that gives you 2 months and a couple days to set up a cage match. If that, and again, now that I'm talking this out, I feel like that's too quick, right? If Roman returns at SummerSlam, you think a War Games match, Civil War style happens in October. Could it happen that quickly? Would you want it to happen that quickly if you're a fan? Because I feel like this has got a long way to go. No Doubt says, what's happening? What's happening, my man? And again, if you're watching this on X, on Twitch, don't forget we are 207 subscriptions away from 1,000. So please, if you can help me out, jump on over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. Greatly appreciated. Again, 207 away from 1,000. I appreciate each and every one of you and all the support you give me here on the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel. And that's just some of the thoughts I had going on. And CM Punk is now at the podium. I'm going to have to go back and listen to what exactly was said. But again, John Cena kind of went back through what he was talking about with his retirement. It will be at the end of 2025. He will have matches 30 to 40, he said, right now are penciled in. And he said, God willing, he'll have 30 to 40 appearances, and his career would come to, his in-ring career would come to an end at the end, December 2025. Let's see what else we got. Back to Bloodline BS, outnumbered, cheat, win, great. If this affect my investment level, if this continues, it'll affect. But let me ask you, No Doubt, where was, they had one more person outnumber them there. Like it wasn't like you had 37 people running in to interfere. You know what you're going to get with the Bloodline, and ultimately, you know what the result's going to be. You know, ultimately, at some point, Roman Reigns is going to return. And then at that point, it's going to be interesting to see where everything else falls in line. Because ultimately, I think you're going to see Paul Heyman return. You'll see Jimmy Uso, of course, return. Hikuleo is under contract right now with WWE. Where does he go? There's Zilla Fatu, who is wrestling with Booker T's Reality of Wrestling right now. You've got Lance Anoa'i, who is out, or Anoa'i. I'm sorry, I always say Anoa'i. Anoa'i is out there. There's quite a few in the pipeline, I'm understanding. If you watched any of your X or Instagram feeds, a lot of people were at Sika's celebration of life, and you saw a lot of the Samoan bloodline there. So it will be interesting to see where this goes. How long do they let this play out? Does The Rock come back, and where does he align? Everybody automatically assumes that The Rock would be a part of the heel group with Solo. What happens if he's not? And it's Rock, Roman, and the Usos taking on Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaleo, Jacob Fatu, Hikuleo, if Zilla Fatu shows up. So you almost have like the OG bloodline versus the new blood in a way. I remember that was like a WCW storyline when you had the new blood is what they called it. And that's the whole, for those that watched the Who Killed WCW, the blood falls right beside Kevin Nash and misses him. That was part of the whole new blood set angle. So let's hope they don't go that way. No Doubt back in says, Cody is too nice. If he's going to be weak, just take the belt. I don't think he's being too nice, man. He went after, he waited in the parking lot the other day for, I mean, it's not like he's not wanting to fight. We'll have to see where this puts him now with him losing and being pinned at a PLE in a 6-man tag team match, because that's got to make Solo the number one contender. And then now where does it go from there? And then also you've got the whole Randy Orton situation. If you've watched online, if you watched anywhere else, if you've watched it yourself, his eyes are on that title. Where does that fall into play? Cody's a marked man. There's a lot going on and a lot of ways they could go. Because when the bloodline, I believe, starts fighting amongst themselves, which, again, I believe SummerSlam will be Cody versus Solo. But then I think after that, you'll get the bloodline taking on each other, fighting between themselves. Cody will need a new opponent, and I think Randy Orton slides in there at some point. And it's going to be interesting to see John Cena. How do things play out with John Cena? He said this is his last Royal Rumble. This is his last WrestleMania. I mean, these are going to all last for John Cena. Who do they have him take on in those last matches? Is it going to be up-and-coming talent? Are they going to give Cena one last run? Not as a champion, but, feed him hand-picked opponents to just win so Cena goes out on top? It's going to be a very interesting, and he wants to be around to be on Netflix, he said. So it's going to be a fun time, man. Let's see. It's just sad that tonight was so predictable. It's wrestling, man. I mean, so let me ask you this. If you really follow wrestling and the storylines, you could really kind of see the way that everything's going. I don't know that that there's too many times it'll be unpredictable. The unpredictable stuff might happen with how it got to that result, but I don't think there's any unpredictability as far as, you looked at what was going on with the Bloodline, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. It doesn't make sense to put Cody or any of them over. Solo has to win if he's going to establish himself as the head of the table, and he's going to be an opponent for Roman Reigns when he comes back. You've got to build that up. How do you build that up? You have him pin the undisputed heavyweight champion in a 6-man tag, and you start the run to get him to SummerSlam, to where I believe the real head of the table will return. And then now you've set it up to where Solo, again, I don't know how they're going to set it up, but if I was doing this, I would have it to where Solo is close to winning the championship, and then I would have Roman come out and cost him the match. I would have it to where Solo is a Samoan spike away from having his first ever undisputed championship, and Roman Reigns takes it away from him. But again, tonight, you looked at it, you could look at the way that everything's building up. Tiffany Stratton, what are they going to do? Put it back on Io Sky? Give it to Lyra Valkyria? Okay, just to throw a surprise in there? I don't know where, again, you want it to be unpredictable, but then it also has to go by storylines. If it's going to be unpredictable, then it's great matches. If you're telling a story, you have a story set up for months. Ultimately, when smart people catch on, then yes, you can start predicting how it's going to go, how certain things will play out. Now, do they hit, the Road to WrestleMania? If you watch that, the documentary, yeah, they switched it up a little bit. They added some speed bumps in there and things like that. But ultimately, anybody that's watched it figured Cody was finishing the story in year 2. You had to. Because wrestling fans aren't going to stay invested in somebody that, if he would have got cheated out of the belt this year, you think they're going to be with him throughout another year? See, that's the thing. It's not about the predictability. It's about getting you invested into what is going on. Getting you invested into certain characters to where you're like, God damn, Drew got screwed again. Or if you like CM Punk and you're invested in him, you're like, yes, he got one over on Drew again. It's not necessarily predicting the winner and the loser. I mean, it's going to go one way or the other. Unless you don't. Like, I didn't like that Drew made it a triple threat. Why would you make it a triple threat? Why wouldn't you wait till somebody was pinned, beat down, and then come in and cash in? Terry, what's up, my man? Cena said 30. Yes, I talked about that. And don't forget, if you're watching us on X, please hit the like. Also, please help me out. 207 away from 1,000 on YouTube, trying to get there, hopefully, by the end of this month, the month of July. So please, if you can, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend if they want to hear some wrestling talk. We'll be back tomorrow in NXT Heatwave. Myself and Frankie Fresco, I believe, is going to join me tomorrow to break down everything that happens on the NXT Heatwave pay-per-view. I hope you enjoyed the Money in the Bank briefcase. I thought it was good. Cat for Life gave it an 8 out of 10. I would give it, I had it at 7.5. I could go up to an 8. I'll do 7.75. That's where I'll go. 7.75 for Money in the Bank. And if you are watching it right now, they're just going back over some of the Drew McIntyre stuff. It'll be a very interesting Monday Night Raw. We'll see if CM Punk shows up. We'll see what happens with Seth Rollins. Again, he lost. He did not get pinned, but he lost the match. He did not win. Therefore, he will not be able to challenge Damian Priest again for as long as Damian Priest is the champion. So another interesting thing, CM Punk, I believe, might have picked up 3 enemies tonight by trying to carry out his anger and take out Drew McIntyre. So we'll see what happens on Raw. And, of course, Cody gets pinned. SmackDown this week should be interesting. We start gearing up. We have August 3rd, SummerSlam. So a little less than a month to go in the build-up to SummerSlam. And we'll see. I got to believe the headlining match for SummerSlam is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. And I believe we see the return of the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Cleveland Stadium, Brown Stadium, will be the home of SummerSlam on August 3rd. It's getting good, my friends. The stories keep rolling. Apparently, no doubt, it's not liking the predictability. But hey, you can't hit everything. You can't have everything. But also, hey, don't forget also tonight, Collision was on. So I'll go back. I'll watch that. We will get a update. That'll be out tomorrow sometime as well. Please hit me up on X, IG, Threads, TikTok, Sean_Stanley11. Check me out on Facebook and YouTube, Stanley Media House Network. It's right down there. And I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in tonight. Hold on a minute. Looks like we got a last second. SummerSlam should be exciting. The next 4 weeks should be a whirlwind. I think it will be. But also, I think it might be not necessarily a whirlwind as far as I think you start getting teases of Roman Reigns and things like that. That's going to be the things you get. I don't know that you see Roman Reigns until SummerSlam. And again, as I said, in this tonight, if you go back, you listen to our Tuesday show, Squared Circle Digest, we had options galore. Not a lot of them happened. Drew McIntyre, our results, we were pretty much dead on. Although I thought Sami Zayn would lose to Braun Breaker. And I did not have John Cena retiring, the farewell tour. I did not have that on the bingo card. But other than that, we were pretty much dead on the results. But we had other options the way that WWE we thought could go. And that is what makes this so good. Because you can talk yourself into a frenzy and nothing happens. Or you can just be upset that it might be predictable. Either way, I'm Sean Stanley. This is the Squared Circle Digest. We just recapped Money in the Bank. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Tomorrow, NXT Heatwave recap. Also tomorrow during the day, Collision will be recorded and put out. Until then, so long from the Sunshine State.